I'm always looking for new inspiration for canapes because I always like to start a meal with a canapé when my friends come over. This is a pretty cool one because what I'm going to be doing is wrapping asparagus spears with goat's cheese in phyllo pastry. So you've got a crunchy outside, really delicious creaminess from the goat's cheese and ricotta, and on top of that, the freshness of the asparagus in the centre. So I'm going to make the first bit, which is the creamy element of this, 300 grams of soft goat's cheese, and then I like to use ricotta because this is going to give it some lightness, so 200 grams of ricotta. So all up, 500 grams of cheese in a mini food processor, and 30 millilitres of thickened cream, and this is just going to bind all of this together. And now for some lemon, I'm going to zest half of this lemon here straight into our mini food processor. And also I want a little bit of the juice. Now I'm going to start with half of this, just get a knife, and then at the end I'll taste it because it may need a little bit more. So a little squeeze now, catching all those seeds, we don't want them in there. Just use your hands as the strainer. And now for some herbs. Now oregano. It reminds me of my next door neighbour's garden. They've always got lots of oregano and I love the fresh oregano here. So I'm just going to use 2 big stalks of oregano straight into this food processor because I'm going to let the machine do all of the work here. All right, now we need to add a little bit of salt. Just a small amount because the goat's cheese is a little bit salty, and a good crack of pepper here. And you could add different spices here. Sumac, fantastic. A little bit of chili powder, delicious. Smoked paprika. Even nutmeg goes nicely with this cheese along with the asparagus. Now let's put the lid into place and then we'll blitz this until it's really light and creamy. Oh, this is looking incredible. Have a look how creamy and smooth this is. I could just eat the whole bowl of that. It's so yummy. This in itself is a really nice cheese spread if you wanted to make some toasted sandwiches. So now that we've got that, I digress. We're going straight onto our phyllo asparagus spears that I'm going to wrap up now. So phyllo, just a regular phyllo. I've just taken it out of the fridge and now I'm going to place it on this clean bench here. So I'll just grab 1 layer to start with. Perfect, you can see how thin that is. Love working with phyllo because it goes so crunchy when it's baked in the oven. I'm just going to fold over this last bit and put it over here. And this damp tea towel can go over the top. I've got a little bit of butter here that I've melted, and we're going to start this process. So just a little bit of butter to start with, a little bit more there. Now I'm going to cut this in half, and we only need half piece of phyllo per asparagus spear. Now I'm going to spread some of this luscious cheese spread, so a few dollops, and you want a thin layer, leaving a small border because we're going to wrap this around the asparagus. So you can't actually see the asparagus until you bite into it, of course. So even amount of cheese spread. Now for the asparagus. You can see at the end here it's a little bit woody, not very palatable. So I'm just going to chop that off, about 4 centimetres worth. That can go in the centre of the phyllo, but at the bottom. And then we're going to wrap this just like we would wrap some spring rolls and be very delicate with it so it can fold quite easily. So fold in the sides and then roll again. And you can see I'm just wrapping it quite lightly, not too tight. And voila, that's our first package done. So now just get a little bit of butter and just drizzle and brush, I should say, over the phyllo. Perfect. And just to garnish this, either nigella seeds or black sesame seeds, because they're so striking, just sprinkle them over and then onto a tray. So I've got my tray ready over here. I'm going to place them on there. Now I've preheated my oven to 180 and these are going to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes or until they're really golden brown. look absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with the way these have turned out. They're golden brown. The little speckle of black sesame seeds look fantastic. And I've just allowed them to cool a little bit so they get super crispy. And then I just like to pile them up onto a big board or a little plate like this, but make sure it looks plentiful. So a few more there. And then I want to cut into one just to show you how gorgeous they look. And straight down the center. Oh, and there's the little surprise. That asparagus is cooked perfectly. When I cut through that, it's still got a little bit of crunch. I'm gonna have a taste. Wow, that is so delicious. That combination of goat's cheese, asparagus, match made in heaven, and even better when it's wrapped in really crunchy filo like that. All I need is a glass of white wine to just really top this off as one of the best canapés ever.